With the Detroit Lions season opener merely a few weeks away, the Lions seem to be ready to go for a Super Bowl run. The problem is that one of the most important positions for their roster, the wide receiver number 3 position, still remains undecided. And today, I'm calling out Brad Holmes to make this move to solidify the Lions' Super Bowl dreams. Stay tuned, everybody. We're going to talk about it.
What are we? What makes us what we are? And what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10, 5, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions fans, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. My friends, for today's episode, what we're going to be talking about is how, let's call it for what it is. The Lions have probably one of the most, I would just say, awesome offenses in the entirety of the NFL. When you take a look at the offense that the Lions have, it is an offense that has an absolutely amazing arsenal of weapons. And it's an offense that includes Amon-Ra St. Brown. It includes Jameson Williams. It includes Sam Laporta. It includes Jahmyr Gibbs. It includes David Montgomery. It includes Jared Goff. And it includes the best offensive line in the entirety of the NFL. It is an offense that from damn near top to bottom, there is no weakness. Now, notice what I said there at the end. Damn near no weakness. The reason why I'm saying that is because that the Lions' offense is still incomplete at this point, and we're only about 3 weeks out from the Lions' season opener against the freaking Los Angeles Rams. And let's call that for what it is. That is not ideal. The Lions want to have this offense top to bottom, everything settled, everything should be good to go by this point, especially after all the minicamp practices, all the OTAs, and now, pretty much in essence, training camp is now over. Training camp is now over. Now what you're really in essence doing is, okay, you're still going to do evaluations, but now the Lions are in essence going to start game planning. They're going to start practicing. They're going to start getting ready for when they have to play against the Rams. The time of training camp, in essence, is over. It's now, okay, we need to start getting ready for when the Rams come to town because that's only a couple of weeks away. And the fact that the Lions do not have a truly established wide receiver number 3 on their roster at this point, that is troubling. That is concerning. The reason why is because this offseason, when the Lions lost Josh Reynolds, when he decided to skip town and go to the Denver Broncos, the loss of Josh Reynolds was kind of a big deal because, let's call it for what it is, other than those 2 drops in the championship game, Josh Reynolds was about as reliable as it came to when you needed a big catch out of him, you needed a play to be made, someone to convert the downs. Josh Reynolds was somebody that the offense, Jared Goff, Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell came to rely upon. He was a guy that, he was always in the right spot at the right time. The problem is that a lot of Lions fans were like, okay, because we're losing Josh Reynolds, Brad Holmes should then make a corresponding move to then bring in somebody to replace Josh Reynolds. That is where the problem starts because Brad Holmes did not do that this offseason. You go throughout the entirety of the offseason, you go through free agency, you go through potential trades, you go through the draft. Brad Holmes really didn't do much of anything to try and resolve this issue, to try and actually bring in somebody who would be, a good solution for this problem. Now, that does not mean that Brad Holmes didn't have any sort of moves. That does not mean that there weren't possibilities that were already on the Lions roster. Because the Lions did have a couple of options that were on the roster already, but at the same time, they did bring in some people. They brought in Caden Davis. They brought in Traquan Smith. They brought in Darius Fountain. They already had Donovan Peoples-Jones on the roster. And they also had Green on the roster. The issue with all those guys is that none of them, to this point, has done anything to try and separate themselves from the pack. And let's call it also for what it is. Dan Campbell looks like he's starting to lose patience. He's starting to lose this whole desire of trying to see where this is going to go. When you've got a coach that literally gets in front of a podium and he says, hey, we are dying, we are growing impatient for somebody in the wide receiver 3 competition to separate themselves from the pack, because nobody has done it to this point. When a coach says that, that ought to be a major red flag if you're competing for that job. Because now you have directly become a huge target. Now everybody's going to start focusing on you. But then when Dan Campbell goes on national media and he says, listen, just because you're a wide receiver does not necessarily mean we're going to guarantee you a job just because we need a certain amount of wide receivers. Dan Campbell said, we'll run with 4 or 5 running backs if we have to. We will run with whoever is the best players on our roster. So again, the fact that Dan Campbell over the last, week, 2 weeks has said this because of the fact that nobody has stepped out, nobody has taken a hold of that competition, that is very concerning. That is not something you want to hear from your head coach, especially when you're trying to vie for a Super Bowl, and especially when the season opener is less than 3 weeks away. So, as I said, with 3 weeks to go, I'm officially throwing my hat in the ring. I'm going to, in essence, play what some people would like to call a couch GM here. And I'm going to make my advocacy towards Brad Holmes, towards the Detroit Lions, to make a move that I not only think could make the Lions the best offense in the NFL, without a shadow of doubt. I think this would make them the best offense in the NFL. But I think it would further propel, if not lock down, secure their Super Bowl dream aspirations. And the move I'm talking about is I believe the Lions should go out and sign wide receiver Hunter Renfrow to be the guy to replace Josh Reynolds. Now, some Lions fans will know who Hunter Renfrow is. Others may not. But let's just call it for what it is. Hunter Renfrow right now is probably the best wide receiver left on the free agency market. I know some people would say, well, David, that would be Michael Thomas. Here's the thing. While Michael Thomas is talented, he's also injury prone as hell. And the problem is that I don't want to bring in a guy that's injury prone. I want a guy that can stay on the field and play. And definitely Hunter Renfrow has that one locked down in spades compared to Michael Thomas. So when we talk about Hunter Renfrow in this category, the fact of the matter is that when you've got guys like DPJ, so Donovan Peoples-Jones, Darius Fountain, Traquan Smith, Isaiah Williams, who has not really done anything to, establish themselves as the front runner for that job, this is a problem. This is very troubling, again, when you're only a couple of weeks out from the regular season, and it's for a couple of reasons. Let's first and foremost call it for what it is. Donovan Peoples-Jones. I sincerely thought going into the offseason when we lost, Josh Reynolds, he was going to be the guy that was going to instantly step up. It wasn't going to be much of a contest. Why? Because he's the most experienced. He's the most talented out of all the guys that's vying for that job. But the fact that he has not been able to pull away, to take command of the situation, and doing that against others that are especially less talented than he is, and when he's got Jared Goff being his quarterback, who Goff being one of the most precise, accurate passers in the league, understands this offense inside and out, and the fact that freaking, Donovan Peoples-Jones was here last year, the fact that he's not been able to take command of that situation, that's very, very troubling. I know Donovan Peoples-Jones is a decent wide receiver, but the fact that other guys are sticking with him in this race, not good. Not at all a good sign. Number 2, let's understand how damn important actually Josh Reynolds was to the Detroit Lions. If you take a look at the Lions offense in 2022 and in 2023, while Josh Reynolds might not have had anywhere close to the numbers that Amon-Ra St. Brown posted, he was extremely, again, reliable. 57 out of the 78 targets that, Josh Reynolds had, 57 of them were catches, right? Well, here's the thing. Understand this. 57 of those 78 catches, were for first downs. So 57 out of 78, that's 73% first down rate. That is unheard of almost. To have a guy that when you throw the pass to him, he is 70% or better of the time going to catch that ball and get a first down, that's very reliable. That means that, hey, when you got to have a play, you got to have somebody make a play, he's going to make the play. He's going to get it done way more often than not. And think about this. When Jared Goff was throwing the ball to him in 2022 and in 2023, Goff's passer rating throwing to him was a 106.7. That's pretty damn good. Again, reliable. I understand everybody's going to continue to harp on about the whole NFC Conference Championship game, but you take out those 2 catches, Josh Reynolds was about as reliable as they come for this Lions offense, and when you needed a play, he got it done. And then the final reason, I kind of already hit on it a little bit, but the fact that Donovan Peoples-Jones is not pulling away from guys like Traquan Smith, Daurice Fountain, Isaiah Williams, that's just not good. Daurice Fountain has very little playing experience. Forget starting experience, just playing experience in the NFL. Isaiah Williams, an undrafted free agent this year. And then you take a look at Traquan Smith. He's got starting experience with the New Orleans Saints. But the best year that he's ever had in the NFL is not even all that good. It's actually kind of below average. So again, the fact that the guy that was planned to be the guy to replace Josh Reynolds, that was thought to be the guy to replace Josh Reynolds, still cannot find a way to separate himself from this, for lack of a better word, mediocre ensemble of other guys is very troubling. That's why, for me, bringing in Hunter Renfrow is an excellent idea. For me, I think it would be a move that the Lions should absolutely invest in. And here are the reasons why. This is why I think Renfrow would be an excellent solution. First and foremost, Hunter Renfrow has good experience in the NFL. He's not always been a starting wide receiver, but he has a decent amount of starting experience. But what he really has, he has good production in the past. He has a 1,000-yard receiving season in the past. And that was done despite only starting 9 games. And prior to that, he had 2 600-plus yard receiving seasons. Neither Josh Reynolds nor Donovan Peoples-Jones has ever done that at any point in their careers, Lions or not. So again, Hunter Renfrow has the experience and he has the ball production to show that, hey, you plug him into this offense, he should be a good fit. Reason number 2, I'm just going to say this right now. We were all talking about how Josh Reynolds was reliable. Well, here's another way to call a reliable receiver. He's a possession receiver. A guy that if you throw the ball to him, more often than not, he's going to make the catch. Hunter Renfrow is an elite possession receiver. And when I say elite, I'm telling you this right now. I don't know if there's a better possession receiver in the NFL right now than him. And that's saying something. And I'm going to prove it to you right here. Just think about this. Over the course of Hunter Renfrow's career, you want to know what his catch percentage is? It is a 74.1%. That means 75% of the time almost, he is catching anything thrown his way. That is ungodly freaking, good. Furthermore, from 2020 to 2022, Hunter Renfrow never caught less than 72% of his passes, with one season actually having 80+% of his passes being caught. Think about that. And the average for 2020 to 2022 for Hunter Renfrow was 76.5% of his passes were caught during that span. You are talking about a guy, you throw the ball to him, he is more likely than not going to find a way to make the catch. That is the very absolute definition of reliable. Now compare that, if you will, all those numbers that I just talked about Hunter Renfrow, with the guys that we're talking about here, Josh Reynolds and Donovan Peoples-Jones. Josh Reynolds' best receiving season in terms of catch percentage was in 2021 for 74.4%. So pretty much on par with Hunter Renfrow's career catch percentage. Not just one season, career catch percentage. And that's Josh Reynolds' only 70% catch percentage season. Whereas freaking Hunter Renfrow had 3 of them in a row. Oh, and by the way, like I said, Hunter Renfrow's career catch percentage is 74.1. Josh Reynolds, a mere 59%. Now let's move to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Donovan Peoples-Jones, best season in his career with the catch percentage was his rookie year in 2020 when he caught 70% of his passes that were thrown his way. And it's the only, again, 70-plus catch percentage season of his career. Like I said, Hunter Renfrow had 3 straight in a row. And DPJ's overall career number, 61.3%. Slightly better than Josh Reynolds, but again, doesn't even come close to Hunter Renfrow's. So then I got a little squirrely about this. I was like, you know what? How does Hunter Renfrow stack up against Amon-Ra St. Brown? Take a look at this one, folks. This is going to blow your damn mind. You know what Amon-Ra St. Brown's best season is for catch percentage? It was his rookie year in 2021. He caught 75.6% of his passes. Again, Hunter Renfrow's best season was 80+%. So it's better than that. Oh, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the only guy that has 3 straight 72-plus receiving catch percentage seasons, just like Hunter Renfrow. But over the course of Amon-Ra St. Brown's career, his catch percentage is 73.4%. So again, it's actually lower than Hunter Renfrow's 74.1%. Think about that, folks. We all know how damn reliable, how damn consistent, how damn good, prolific Amon-Ra St. Brown is. The fact that Hunter Renfrow, as far as being able to catch passes at a consistent, reliable rate, even makes Amon-Ra St. Brown look second, that is unheard of. That right there tells me that Hunter Renfrow would be an excellent fit for this offense. Because think about this, folks. The reason why I can say this is because Hunter Renfrow can do everything that Josh Reynolds could do. Hunter Renfrow is a guy that can play both inside and outside as a wide receiver, just like Josh Reynolds could. Now, I will say this. Hunter Renfrow has played more time in the slot than Josh Reynolds did. Josh Reynolds actually played a little bit more outside. Now, some people would say, well, if Hunter Renfrow is more of a slot receiver, that's going to instantly disqualify him. I disagree. Here's the reason why. We already know Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be one of the starting outside wide receivers. Jamison Williams is going to be the other. Well, you can only have 2 outside wide receivers, so you need to have a solid, reliable slot wide receiver. Hey, I know a guy right now that's probably about the best slot receiver in the business, a.k.a. Hunter Renfrow. Probably got the best receiving percentage out of all freaking wide receivers right now. Has played exclusively almost in the slot, but has outside experience as well, just like Josh Reynolds. I mean, for crying out loud, 2 + 2 = 4. If you're looking for a guy that can do what Josh Reynolds could do, but was even better, 2 times better almost in terms of his ability to be reliable, I'm sorry, it's freaking manna from heaven. This is a perfect move. And then, here's the final nail in the coffin to this whole argument. Hunter Renfrow is a Dan Campbell player. I mean, he is a perfect embodiment of a Dan Campbell player. Freaking Hunter Renfrow, go back to his college days when he was at Clemson. He was a walk-on player for the Clemson team, and he had to claw, scratch, and fight his way to actually become a good player on that offense. And then, if I recall correctly, he actually won a championship with that team. Then he gets to the NFL, and again, one of the things that almost everybody that's ever worked around him, whether it was, his former head coach, John Gruden, whether it was his GMs, whether it was his teammates, whoever the hell you want to call it, they all said the same thing about Hunter Renfrow. His work ethic was second to almost none. He was constantly working, constantly trying to find a way to get better. In essence, he was gritty as hell. He was not going to settle for being second rate. He was never going to stop trying to find a way to get better. Gee, I think that sounds like someone we already have on our roster, a.k.a. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the guy that catches 200-plus freaking footballs after every single damn practice. Hunter Renfrow sounds like he is right in the same vein. He sounds like he is a perfect fit for the Lions' culture. He's 100%, I believe, a perfect fit not only for the Lions' offensive needs, but he's also a perfect fit for the Lions' cultural needs. So think about this, folks. You have a guy that's out there right now. He's 28, almost 29 years old. You could go out there and you could get Hunter Renfrow, I would think, for a decent deal. Think about it. Hunter Renfrow has only played with the Raiders. The Raiders have not been all that good. I can guarantee you this, with Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes' ability to negotiate and the fact that the Lions are one of the best teams in the NFL, I guarantee you this, the Lions would be able to probably get Hunter Renfrow for less than what he would probably get from any other team. And, let's keep this in perspective. The fact the Lions have $40+ million in cap space, they're not hurting for money. They could easily afford Renfrow's services. And think about it. All the things I've talked about, that would give the Lions one more offensive weapon, and I think a perfect fit, a perfect complement to their offense to make them, I would say, probably the top Super Bowl contender in the NFC, and probably one of the top contenders to not only get to the Super Bowl, but to win the Super Bowl. You guys can listen to what I say, or you guys can disagree with me. That's totally fair. But I'm going to just say this. If you're going to disagree with me, please let me know what you got to say, albeit respectfully. Having said that, though, I'm going to end this episode and say thank you all for watching another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I also encourage y'all, please, if you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and not had a chance to do so, again, highly encourage y'all to subscribe. But also make sure you hit that bell notification icon as well, so that way you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Also want to encourage y'all to share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. The more we share it, the greater the channel grows and spreads. And with that being said, to everybody, I just hope you guys enjoyed the content. Hope y'all are having a great day. Hope y'all got something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.